A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to welcome you to the 83rd Founders Assembly of Vellum Boys School. Although we are not with you in person, I assure you we are with you in spirit. So, without further ado, let's start the proceedings. It is an honor to extend a cordial welcome to our chief guest of the day, Mr. Karan Bajwa, the Managing Director of Google Cloud India, our Chairman, Mr. Darshan Singh, and the Board of Governors. Thank you for joining us online. It gives me immense joy to invite the Principal, Ms. Sangeeta Ken, to lead us in prayer. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Rinchin. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please rise for the prayer. Lord, receive our prayers for this school and this country. Protect the innocent, restrain the greedy and the treacherous. Lead us out of our tribulation into a quiet land. Look down upon ourselves and upon our absent dear ones. Help us and them. Prolong our days in peace and honor. Give us health, food, bright weather, and light hearts. If we plan to do evil, frustrate our will. If we plan to do good, further our endeavors. Cause injuries to be forgotten and kindness to be remembered. Let us lie down at night without fear, so that we awake and arise tomorrow full of strength and joy. The hymn for the day is Anand Loke. Good morning once again, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the 83rd Founders Day celebration of Vellum Boys School. A day that over the years has seen every being of Vellum reverberate with a spirit to give its best and make each moment a memory to cherish. As we move from the Acti, the Theatron and the fields of Vellum Boys to gadget screens across the world on our 83rd Founders Day, we go back in time to celebrate the legacy of our great institution. We pay tribute to our founder, Miss Oliphant, whose vision, determination, passion, and selflessness saw the birth of an institution that would go on to play an integral part in the growth of many a generation of young boys. It is her legacy that mere mortals like me inherit, and the sheer realization of it humbles me to the core. I take this opportunity to welcome our chief guest, Mr. Karan Bajwa, Managing Director, Google Cloud India. Mr. Bajwa is a tech industry veteran who has worked with Cisco and has been the Managing Director of tech giants like the IBM and Microsoft. At a time when technology seems to be holding our world together, We are indeed fortunate to have Mr. Bajwa share his thoughts with us. This institution has had a history of illustrious principals who have left an indelible mark on its progress over the years. From the time when it was a preparatory school to now, the one leader of Vellum Boys who stands tall is Mr. S.K. Kandhari, who is very rightly credited for bringing the Vellum Boys into its own. Today, we speak with Miss Usha Kandhari, the lady who walked in step with the genius, to share with us the thoughts, the dreams, the work behind the scenes in the journey of Vellum Boys from a preparatory school to Vellum Boys School as it is today. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. I also take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Darshan Singh, Chairman Board of Governors, Vellum Boys School. An alumnus of Vellum Boys School, the Doon School and the BITS Pilani, Mr. Darshan Singh is a life member of the Aeronautical Society of India. To be interacting with him is like going through an encyclopedia, for his vast knowledge of just about everything under the sun, from astronomy to nephrology to military history to the birds, trees, mountains, oceans and seas and much, much more, leaves one truly inspired. We cannot thank him enough for steering the ship that is Vellum, with great vision, clarity of thought, and complete commitment to the singular aim of doing the best that we can for our boys. I also take this opportunity to welcome the esteemed members of the Board of Governors, whose unstinting support has taken the school from strength to strength. I welcome all the honored guests, parents, grandparents, the old boys, especially so the Silver Jubilee Batch, the double-deckers and the decaders, my colleagues at Vellum Boys, and my dear students. I must admit that it is not just strange, but an extremely unnerving experience to be speaking into the near emptiness that surrounds me in the activity center. At the same time, I count my blessings that I have some of my grade 10 and 12 boys to represent the community that I am now an integral part of. For an individual like me, who is first and foremost a people's person, this is as strange as life can get. As a principal who is yet to meet all her boys and know them as individuals who are unique in their own little ways, I will share and celebrate their achievements of the year. As is the tradition, I start with academics. The year 2020 saw our boys come out yet again with a stupendous performance at the All India Secondary School and the All India Senior School Certificate Examination conducted by the CBSE. A total of 87 students appeared for the grade 10 exam. Moksh Kanpal, Sarthak Singhal and Rudrash Agarwal topped the school with a score of 98%, followed by Mihish Sharma scoring 97% and Arg Gupta with a 96.6%. Sarthak Singhal of grade 10 scored a perfect 100 in social science, Hindi and computer application. Raman Gotra scored a perfect 100 in French. And Moksh Kanpal and Rudrash Agarwal also scored a perfect 100 in computer application. A total of 62 students appeared for the grade 12 exam. More than 50% of our students scored above 90%. And with an average aggregate of 87.6%, we saw a marked improvement from last year by 2.75%. Aryan Kathuria of Humanities Stream topped the school with a 98%, followed by Piyush Daga and Khatwang Gupta of Commerce Stream with a 97.4%. And Shubham Sikaria of Commerce Stream stood third with a 97.2%. Devansh Agarwal topped the Science Stream with a 97%. Shaurya Poddar scored a perfect 100 in English. Kartikeya Agarwal, Aryan Garg and Rajesh Mohan Bhandari did us proud by scoring a perfect 100 in economics. Devansh Agarwal scored a 100% in chemistry. Devraj Singhania, Gaurang Bhati and Anish Aditya Prasad scored a perfect 100 in painting. Arya Mitra scored a 100% in Hindustani vocal music. And Naman Rathi and Mayank Agarwal scored a perfect 100 in Hindustani music, percussion instruments. For this and so much more, I thank my predecessor, Dr. Gunmeet Bindra, whose dynamism and determination took the school to great heights. When we sent the boys back home on March 17, 2020, little did we realize that we were looking at a situation that would threaten to change the way mankind has lived life. The month of April saw us start online classes. The success of our classes, along with the plethora of activities that we have conducted online, has been the highlight of the year 2020. The students, teachers, and parents all got together to embrace the online life, which has prepared us to shift seamlessly to the new academic block under construction that will see cutting-edge educational technology on the Vellum campus. From hosting the first ever online Wellman, the first ever online OLLI debates, the first ever online military history seminar, the list is endless. The school left no stone unturned to keep the students meaningfully engaged and connected with their teachers. Be it the online assessments, remedial classes, debating and theatre workshops, morning PT, PTMs, tutorial meetings, we did it all. The presentations that you will witness today are an amalgamation of the COVID learnings. However, amidst all these activities that we have been engaged in, the one thing that has warmed my heart and reaffirmed my faith in the goodness of humanity has been the weekly outreach program that our students have been engaged in. To rise above the self, especially so during challenging times, is the hallmark of a compassionate and conscientious human being. And we are proud that our students are such human beings. Away from the Vellum campus, but with a passion to perform, our students won many prizes at various debating, math, music competitions, hackathons, and MUNs held online by schools across the country and abroad. Besides the many lessons that COVID-19 has taught, amongst the most important has been to celebrate and appreciate the routine of life. To revel in the so-called small things like meeting a friend, going to work, walking around the Vellum Marine Drive that we took so much for granted seem like luxuries today. Old and young alike have realized that life is a sum of all the little things that you enjoy doing rather than that one luxury holiday, one designer bag, or yet another new gadget. As we educators, along with the parent community, work towards giving men of morals and mettle to society, we must remember that we will have succeeded in this aim if our boys are first and foremost healthy in body and mind. Our young boys must understand that the small failures, the occasional reprimand, the run-in with a classmate, the disappointment of hearing a no, looking beyond the frivolity of social media are what will build their mental strength. School is nothing but life simulated, and the perfect place to learn how to handle it is right here and right now. Happiness is a state of mind and not an object to be bought or a prize to be won. You will find it in failure if you choose to learn from it, and you will lose it in a victory if you choose to be arrogant about it. Ladies and gentlemen, COVID has taught us that it is only the will to move, the will to overcome, the will to take life's challenges head on that will see us succeed. As I conclude my first address to the Vellum community on our 83rd Founders Day, I leave you all, and especially so with my boys, with the words of the great American poet, John Greenleaf. And I quote, "Don't quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you are trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a fellow turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Often the goal is nearer than it seems to a faltering and faint man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when the night came down how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint in the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It might be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worst that you must not quit. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, quit we will not, for we promise to rise above life's challenges with a strong mind and the will to succeed. Good luck and may God bless the Vellum community.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. The yearbook of any school is an anthology of events and occasions, which are the high points of the year in the institution, especially for the graduating batch. It has now become a long-established tradition to release the yearbook at the Founders' Assembly. The constraints of the prevailing pandemic have not deterred us from publishing this yearbook. Here is a glimpse of the yearbook 2020. Thank you. We now have the awards for outstanding achievements in academics. Instituted in 2009 in the memory of late Dr. Anil Wilson, a trustee of Welham Boys School, the Dr. Wilson Award is given to those students who secured the top 3 ranks in the grade 12th board examinations. The following students are getting the award for 2019-2020. For the first position, we have Aryan Kathuria. The second position is shared by Piyush Daga and Khatwang Gupta. For the third position, we have Shubham Sakaria. The Principal's Award this year is being given to the top 3 position holders in the Class 10th board examinations. The first position is shared by Moksh Kanpal, Sarthak Singhal, and Rudransh Agarwal. For the second position, we have Mihir Sharma. For the third position, we have Arga Gupta. The WOBS 90 Foundation was set up in December 2012 after the untimely demise of Mr. Ankush Bansal while he was on his way back home after attending the Platinum Jubilee celebrations at Welham. The primary objective of this organization is to strengthen the bond between their batch and the school and to fund scholarships or bursary and other causes primarily focusing on Welham Boys School, the place that brought them all together. WOBS 90 Foundation is proud to announce that the annual scholarship for ₹1 lakh for academic excellence in the memory of Mr. Ankush Bansal and Mr. Devraj Khichi is going to Vraj Lohiya of grade 11th Commerce. At Founders, the school honors the faculty and staff of the Welham fraternity for having completed 25 years of service in the organization. In 2020, 2 members of the Welham community have achieved this landmark. Mr. Rahul Sridhar has well justified every single day of his 25 years and counting stay at Welham ever since 1995 when he joined the IT department and the Welham family. An important pillar of the institution, he is a well-respected figure in the Welham fraternity. His greatest strength is his ability to deal with all situations with admirable diplomacy, which invariably results in him getting all the work done. Yet, there is more to him. He wears a smile on his face at all times, which endears him to one and all. Congratulations, sir. Mr. Dhani Ram started his tenure in Welham as a gardener and is now heading the department. Sincere, soft-spoken, and amiable, he has won hearts with his down-to-earth attitude and pleasant demeanor. He is distinguished for his commitment and punctuality. Congratulations to him for having completed 25 years successfully. I request Mr. Darshan Singh, Chairman, Board of Governors, Welham Boys School, to address the audience. Sir, please.
Good morning.
We're on the special day of the year when we have Founders Day. I want to welcome our chief guest, Mr. Karan Bajwa, Chairman Google India, our new principal, Mrs. Sangeeta Kain, all board members, faculty, the staff, students, and of course, old students. Today we also have a special guest of honor, Usha Kandhari, the wife of our former principal, Mr. S.K. Kandhari, who was better known as Charlie, and who contributed greatly to this school, building literally by adding more fields, more land area, and more buildings. He built on what Miss Oliphant had already started, our founder, Miss Oliphant. This year has been tumultuous in more ways than one. Mrs. Gunmeet Bindra completed over 8 years as principal and moved on to her own school. She is now both a teacher, a principal, and a business lady because she has her own school to run. We wish her well in her new efforts. While she was here, She raised academic standards and also brought in a higher levels of sports. In various sporting activities that we enter into with other schools, we were doing better, and in many we were coming right on top. Mrs. Sangeeta Can, who has joined us, brings along with her many years of experience as a principal. She is versatile not only in administration as a principal, but also in sports, music, and theatre. We wish her well in the years ahead. Mrs. Can has already taken full charge of the school. She has been interacting successfully with the faculty, running the online teaching, and so many other things that need to be done in a school. I would say that from the usual earlier involuntary systems that came naturally in the running of a school, we now have a replaced system with a deliberate system of governance which has to ensure social distancing, sanitizing, and such other protocols that come and go with this unusual pandemic. As a school, we are doing our best, and particularly since the 23rd of March, a lockdown was imposed in India, a national lockdown, and then we had to follow various central government directives. But gradually the central government permitted the opening of schools, apart from other things, but schools in particular, which is what we are concerned with. However, each state was allowed to do what they wanted to do with regard to the schools in their own state. We follow the rules and the permissions from the government of Uttarakhand. Currently, this means that students of the board classes of 10th and 12th, but those who also have parental consent, can join the school. We started on the 2nd of November as per Uttarakhand government directions, and hopefully there will be more opening up in the weeks and months ahead. We look forward to that. We are ready. Mrs. Can has got the school in a condition where we are now ready to accept more students and go more into the usual earlier routine and normal way of functioning. I would say that every adversity brings both a challenge and an opportunity. We are currently facing the challenge on campus, not only in hostels, dining room, classrooms, but right up to the school, infirmary or hospital. Staff and teachers have rallied so that we conduct online teaching as much as possible in the system of a boarding school, starting with PT in the morning. However, COVID is a double-edged sword. It has not only been a problem for the school, but the other side of the sword has also been difficult for parents, many of whom have had to face interruptions in their cycles of business and income. We are sympathetic with parents, and I have dropped our fees by over 20% from the intended fee structure. The pandemic is a double-edged sword, as I said. So on our side, our own finances have also suffered. Yet we must maintain the campus and all its facilities, fields, laboratories, hostels, and much more. We have the task to maintain our teachers and their salaries. Though we have not increased salaries, but at the same time we have not decreased them. We are doing our best to maintain the system in these difficult times. I am thankful to the teachers for the Herculean task that they have put in without any increase in their salaries. In this, obviously, the great leadership provided by the principal has gone to our tremendous advantage. With almost 600 students, we have a large parent body. Some of them are reluctant to pay the fees and have taken recourse to courts. But then, this is not the reality only for Vellum boys. All schools in India face this dilemma, and nearly all state high courts are seized of the matter. Currently, Vellum boys is running in the physical sense with small number of students from the 10th and 12th standards. But in the online mode, we are reaching out to all. In this, as I said, we are maintaining the ethos of a boarding school, and therefore I would request that we are not equated with the coaching academy, which by its very nature has negligible overheads. It is for the parents to choose what they want for their children, and we will do our utmost in return to respond. I had said that adversity also brings opportunity. It is ironic that this Wuhan virus has taught us the hybrid model. Obviously, the online mode is now here to stay. Teaching may continue later on in the physical mode, but some online activity will be available even to those who are on campus. Someone who misses a class, for example, will be able to hear a pre-recorded session after the class was delivered, after the session was completed. Similarly, for board meetings, we have usually excluded from the presence of the meeting those who couldn't make it. But now we know that even those who can't come to a board meeting could be attending the meeting in the online mode. This will happen with other functions in the school, and so that's why I say that this Wuhan virus unfortunately has also brought some new systems which we will take advantage of. During this year, from our board, Mr. Prashant, an old boy of the school, completed his tenure on the board. The school thanks him for his contribution. At the same time, we now have a new member on the board, Mr. Rahul Kohli, who also studied in the earlier Vellum Prep School before moving on to the Doon School, like so many of us in those days. He comes from a well-known Dehradun family and brings considerable experience that should serve the school to its advantage. An outsider would imagine that during COVID, the school would be relatively dormant. This is actually the opposite. The principal and faculty have a busier time now with online studies, assembly, debates, and so much more. Recently, we had, as part of what is now known as the Vellum Initiative, the 4th edition of the Indian Military History Seminar. I am giving you one example. Senior members of the armed forces participated, and we had more than 30 schools online. We are the only school doing this, which is relevant for the children of India to know. It is important to know what sacrifices our armed forces make for us and how grateful we should be to them. Even now, in the cold of our borders, Indian soldiers stand guard for our nation, our sovereignty. They, in those extreme cold conditions, are ensuring the rest of us live in relative comfort and can sleep at night. This teaches us that there are always challenges and difficulties. At Vellum, we have realized this on our own campus routine. Hopefully, our old students with their Vellum education are coping well in their lives outside, wherever they are in the world. For many of our older students, Charlie Kandhari was an icon. This year, as part of the online effort, our principal will have a conversation online with his wife, Usha, and I hope you will remember the good days through that conversation. May I now introduce our chief guest this year, Mr. Karan Bajwa, the chairman of Google India. He is a leader not only in India, but like many other Indians in the whole world, in IT and this world of future technologies. This is very important for the new generation of children who are with us, and for them, a person like Mr. Karan Bajwa is an icon, as they will have to do what he is doing now. For him to address our students is an honor. He has worked at the highest levels as Managing Director of Microsoft India and also as Chairman of IBM India. Thank you, sir, for giving us this very important day in our calendar when we remember our founder, Miss Oliphant. The journey of Welham Boys School continues with the help of all its four pillars. I thank the principal, Mrs. Sangeeta Ken, and her staff, the parents, the students, and of course the old boys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inspirational words. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and privilege to invite our chief guest, Mr. Karan Bajwa, to address the school. Sir, please.
A very good morning to the students and the faculty of Welham Boys School, Dehradun. I'd have loved to do this in person and have the pleasure to be with you all today, but we all learned to make the best of the situation we are handed. So here we are virtually, and it's a pleasure to be here with you all. Foremost, I want to wish you all on your Founders Day. You all have the privilege of being a part of this premier institution, an institution that has delivered excellence over the last 83 years, as well as some very shining stars. I'm sure each of you have very high aspirations, and we will get to see you flourish in your respective fields. I've always believed that a school is the strongest influence in shaping an individual. The early years formation is something that is absolutely important in our journeys. It was for me, for sure. So in that sense, you are really, really fortunate to be a part of Welhams. I was reading through your mission statement, and it threw up a few keywords for me. I saw multidimensional, pursuit of knowledge, thinking out of the box, and driven. And these for me are attributes that go about in the making of a very well-rounded individual. In today's world, I would add one more dimension, which is being empathetic and sensitive about things around you and the massive change that is happening around us. I really hope all of you, your friends, your family are safe in this pandemic. I wish and pray and urge all of you to be super careful about the decisions you take today, as it impacts your and our tomorrow more than ever before. We really live in very challenging times today, and yet ones with a very unique opportunity. It is a time where experience is grossly overvalued because learnings of the past do not have much to offer for the future. So as I look at myself with 30 years of experience working, I do not feel I know any more about the future and the ways of working than you do. And that offers all of you a very unique opportunity. One, where you don't need to be judged by the years of experience, but by your learning agility and your ability to adapt to the new. I speak to a lot of business leaders and CEOs in the country, and I always tell them that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to relook at the what and the how of everything we do. Never waste a crisis, as is famously said. So my advice is to look at how they would do things if they were doing it for the first time. If we gravitate back to the old ways, it will be a lost opportunity. In most cases, we love to do incremental change, but here is an opportunity of fundamental change. Let's take your learning experiences. Have they not changed over the last year? Can you even imagine what your response would have been if someone had asked you last year about online learning? Well, you can never replace the fun and the experience of being with your friends and your teachers inside a classroom. But yet, there is a massive opportunity to reinvent learning and collaboration. And as we look through the last 8 to 9 months, technology has been at the core of how we have all worked together. In this very unprecedented time in history, we've seen hundreds of millions of people across the country and the world adapt to a new normal of working remotely and learning from home. It is human nature to connect, and technologies like video, chat play a very pivotal role. I remember for one, I used to travel at least 4 days a week And I almost started to believe business cannot happen unless you meet people physically. Well, 8 months have changed it all for me. I have not seen the insides of an office or the inside of a plane, and business has been super good. This pandemic has made businesses, teachers, and students alike to embrace the power of technology. From very physical training sessions, lectures, and preparations of exams, video conferencing tools are now an integral part of our lives. And again, I would say, while nothing can replace the face to face interaction, these tools are a blessing for all of us. Equally so, as the surface area of digital increases, it is very important to learn about safety in this new world. I ask you to invest in learning about online safety, the do's and don'ts, and equally what you do if you experience a challenge. The bully has assumed a new dimension online. From a bully with a face, it's a faceless bully who now, in most cases, you cannot identify. So learn about how you leave digital traces. What do you do online, or whatever you do online, impacts how people see you, think about you, and take decisions about you. Your future employers will take decisions about you looking at your digital footprints. So while technology offers huge advantages, it's important we learn well and responsibly. Look, friends, I don't want to preach a lot to you, but I really look forward to an opportunity to be with you in person soon and answer any questions you may have. I want to thank your chairman, Mr. Darshan Singh, and the principal, Mrs. Sangeeta Kain, for the opportunity. And I really hope the next year brings more learning and collaboration for all of you. I wish you all the best and a very happy new year ahead of time. Thank you for the opportunity once again.
Thank you, sir. The school captain, Sanidhya Agarwal, will now deliver his address. Sanidhya, please.
Thank you, Rinchin. Good afternoon, Honorable Chief Guest Sir, the Chairman and Board of Governors, Welham Boys, Madam Principal, distinguished guests, staff, parents, and my fellow Welhamites. It is my privilege to be addressing the Welham community from the podium today, from a position that I've looked at and admired many a times over the years. But it's even more special this year around, ladies and gentlemen, because whilst some of us are back at school, trying to absorb the stillness in the trees at midnight and the tranquility of the campus, both so integral to this institution, and some of us are back home, constantly thinking about the fields, the classrooms, Bethany, and much more. The passion that resides within these walls is trying its hardest to keep us connected, and it's my responsibility to make you aware of it. But before that, I must admit that I don't feel as eager for this opportunity as I once did. For being able to convince you of this would require me to condense 9 years worth of sentiment into a few minutes, and that would be impossible. It is asking me to accept that my growing up in Welham Boys, inside these protective walls, is finally coming to an end. A thought that I've been avoiding for quite a while now. And to reflect on feelings and emotions that are overwhelming for me. To even begin to think that this speech marks the beginning of the end of an era for my batch. An unbelievable journey that began with the innocence of the junior school, with unkept hair and pampering we were also used to, and will end with the iconic graduation ceremony, when we look back at the Olphin Gate and probably cry our eyes out, is extremely unsettling. When I was much younger, back in grade 4, I would look up at the graduating batch in awe, at the grandeur of their ceremony in the main field, the contentment in their eyes, and envisage myself in their position. But now that I finally stand here, months away from my own moment, I dread that intense feeling that will come upon me when I stand next to my batch and the choir sings, "It's sad to say goodbye." That's just how Welham is, isn't it? How it tunes you and transforms you. Back in grade 4, you don't understand the gravity of marching practices and the emotions with which every house contingent turns its eyes right. Back in grade 4, you don't know that the 15 players fighting in the Gandhari finals will somehow represent 700 people whose heart is stuck in the pride of lifting that trophy. Back then, you cannot know that the seniors you once feared will become the reason you shine in this institution. How they'll push you to write for the Oliphant, dictate you your first inter-house speech, spend hours with you training in the fields, and try to leave you with everything they have learnt in their lives at school, so that you can grow above those complexities into a better individual and truly believe that you can do it. All for the legacy of the mighty elephant, all for what burns within every heartbeat of a proud Wellamite. Back then, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot know how Wellam, in its own ways, will push you into the most competitive environment you will ever see. And it won't be easy. It'll ask you to juggle a million activities, sleep at 2 a.m. after the dance practice, and wake up at 5 to run to the basket courts. Wellam, when in its element, will demand of you what you think you cannot give and still be unsatisfied. But at the end of it all, and I promise you, every one of my batchmates and seniors will agree with me when I say, you will find yourself. I believe it was another school captain not very long ago who quoted Vincent van Gogh. Normality is a paved road. It's comfortable, but no flowers grow there, he said. And now that I reflect on the 9 years that have gone by, I can only thank the Almighty for blessing me unto this garden of roses. Relationships, ladies and gentlemen, have been the cornerstone of my life here at Wellam, and have been responsible for almost everything I have done. From the bottom of my heart, and with utmost sincerity, I hope that everyone, juniors and people who are to still step foot within this institution, continue to come across such people they can so strongly relate with, and get the opportunity of having the initial eagerness to graduate out of school change into the irrational hope of doing it all over again. Wellman, Jubilee, Kandhari, Ollie, from grade 4 to grade 12, everything. It is these memories, ladies and gentlemen, that bind the entire family together. The belief that is kindled within me whenever I look at the White House inspires me to say that even in this pandemic, with the joint effort of the community, the school shall continue to flourish from strength to strength. And this motto that we so judiciously strive to follow keeps us connected, whether we're at home, graduated or otherwise, but equally eager to come back to school or in campus, awaiting the usual hustle bustle. My address, ladies and gentlemen, would be incomplete if I don't thank the people who have played a central role in my life here. And mind you, the words I say speak barely of the kind of relationship we've had. Ms. Bindra, former principal Wellam Boys, who literally taught me what it means to be a leader. From the very personal anecdotes to the high standards she has set for us, every act of hers has held meaning and will stay with me for a very long time. Ma'am Sangeeta Kane, principal Wellam Boys, for the unreal faith she has in me despite the little time we've spent together, and the way she has embraced this school with warmth and affection. I wish you the best of luck, ma'am, for all your endeavors here at school. The entire faculty, who not only prepared us for what is to come in the future, but gave us the confidence that we can confide in them our deepest inhibitions, and that they will always help us to the best of their ability, no matter the place or time. The parents of our students who have made the biggest sacrifice in sending their little children so far away to build another home and another family. I can only imagine how difficult it must be for you to take this leap, and for your courage and faith in school and in us. I thank you on behalf of every student ever to step foot within these walls. And lastly, for my very own batch of 2021. Today when I stand here and think of you, I experience a gush of feelings. And to express that, I'd like to read something someone very close to me wrote for us. He wrote, "It's weird that we should feel strange about separation from family. I mean, we've all been there, done that, right? All of us decided to say goodbye to our childhoods and comfort zones a few years ago to come here, in this seemingly harsh place, only to realize that this place would turn out to be a comfort zone better than home. Personally, I think it's because deep inside us, we're afraid of losing this family that we just so luckily stumbled upon. A family gifted to us, if you will. None of us, by even the wildest of imaginations, would have thought that we'd end up here to find the best feelings in the world, all rolled up in one big brown package. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, we're afraid. We're afraid of losing this near perfect thing. We're afraid that just as these strangers walked into our lives and made it heaven, life is going to phase them out forever. A pandemic isn't helping, and so isn't time. I know what you're feeling, batch of 21. The resentment of not being able to live our last year the way we had always imagined, and missing out on so much in the last 7 months. But today, I only want to thank you for being the way you have. Thank you for believing in me, at times so much more than I ever did. And thank you for making my life here so memorable that I can genuinely feel this emotion and miss you all. Ladies and gentlemen, to be honest, if the entire school was decorated with candles and fairy lights, if my teachers were standing in front of me with a proud smile, if my parents were looking up at me, looking at their little boy deliver the school captain's address, if my entire batch was standing before me ready to cheer no matter how I spoke today, and they would, and if my juniors were sitting across the stairs with expectant eyes like I once did, I might not have been able to deliver this speech. And this feeling is testament to how deep an impact Welham Boys has had on me and every single Welhamite. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanadya. Ladies and gentlemen, my classmates, juniors and teachers who are in the school right now will rise for the school song. You are requested to join us from where you are.
Heart of the valley, by the mountains of Missouri, on the banks of the Rispana, there's a place that you will see, where the eagles fly above, the school I truly love, and this field you meet my family. It's my home, school with song, a peaceful place where I can go. Body and mind, take some time. When I'm done, I will return with pride. 1937 was laid the first foundation of a school that would become one of the best in the nation. Since these humble beginnings of language and religions, the youth of Welham shares through many generations. My home, school with song, a peaceful place where I can grow. Body and mind, take some time. When I'm done, I will return with pride. Welham we stick together through any kind of weather. Flood, mud and madness, when the leaves fall from the trees. But the time I like the best, when the school air hits my chest, and the sweet smell of those lychee trees. It's my home, school with song, a peaceful place where I can grow. Body and mind, take some time. When I'm done, I will return with pride. Unity in diversity, from far distant lands across the seven seas. Unity in diversity, from strength to strength we live at Welham. A home for you and me, a home for you and me, a home for you and me.
Have you ever wondered how it would feel to get a glimpse of the yesteryears of our school through someone else's lens? Well, here is your answer. Let us hear from the former First Lady of Welham Boys School, Mrs. Usha Kandhari, in conversation with our principal, Mrs. Sangeeta Ken. Ma'am was the lady behind the success of Mr. S. K. Kandhari, the legend who headed Welham Boys School for a staggering 19 years with aplomb.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the 83rd Founders Day celebrations of Welham Boys School. This Founders is special in many ways, the first of its kind, which is being held virtually. The school, in its last 83 years, has moved from a preparatory school to what it is today. And I wouldn't be overstating a fact if I say that the credit of this goes to the legendary Mr. S. K. Kandhari. Today, we are more than honored to have with us in conversation his better half, Mrs. Usha Kandhari, the former First Lady of Welham Boys School. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much for
Thank
agreeing
you.
to meet us.
Thank you.
So, without much ado, ma'am, my first question to you is, what made you and sir leave the Doon School and take up the challenge of setting
See, we had growing children And it's time, I think, everybody has to just let go and reach a certain status in life. And I was very keen. And it so happened that Welham Boys, there was a vacancy. It fell vacant. And it was his old school. So the desire was there to head a school. So he sort of went for it and got it. And
When he joined and when both of you joined the Welham Boys School, was it always in his mind that he was going to take it up to become a
yes, at the
full-fledged
back
school?
of his head he thought, otherwise he wouldn't have taken it, that he has to make it a senior school. And then the school must have its own identity and not a feeder school to the Doon School. See, it was a feeder school.
Yes.
When my husband was in Welham Boys, it was a feeder school. All boys automatically went to the Doon School.
What was the first batch like, you know?
First batch was very sweet, very nice. We never took anybody later into these classes.
Okay.
The odd vacancy,
No,
which you still do,
Yes,
I suppose.
yes, ma'am.
Otherwise, there is no entrance exam or no taking in, no take-in for
No lateral entries.
no
so to
lateral entries. So but it was a very sweet batch. It used to be wonderful to sort of interact with them. 10, 12, they loved it. We loved it.
But I must tell you, the boys from his time are completely sold on him and they love him
Thank
very
you so much.
dearly.
Thank you so much
And they
for
remember
saying-
him very, very fondly. So I'm sure.
He had his quirks. He had his sarcasm. He was very sarcastic. And which the boys understand now. And they come around and tell me, thanks to Mr. Kandhari, we've done this and done this. He said, we hated him then.
That's what
You
we.
know-
I guess that's what the heads of schools have to learn to live with.
Live with. Now, ma'am, now, my goodness. I said, acha, there you go. A lot of them tell me. At that time, we were not. Only-
And did we have enough buildings to house these boys?
we, as I told you, bought the principal's hostel. And we could house it, I think, not more than 30 at the time.
And how did this buying come about?
The
how
buying
did it
came
happen?
about, it just happened, as I was telling you. We were walking down the street and I said, Charlie, Surinder, it would be just wonderful. And he said, where do I house them? Lo and behold, they were selling it. So it was taken, dismantled, made into a hostel. It was called Principal's Hostel to begin with. I think the first number was not more than about 15, 20
Of grade 12.
of grade 12. First, as I told you, the first was about 12. Anurag Chadha was the first school captain, if I'm not mistaken.
My goodness, you
I don't
remember that?
I remember that particular one, that name, because we had to tell him he has to make a speech. You know, all the head boys.
Head boys speak, yes.
And I remember him having to train him.
So it was not just bringing about, just taking the school up. It was setting systems in
Setting
place.
systems, absolutely.
Yes, it wasn't just buying a building.
No, not
or just
buying and
creating
placing
another
the boys
class.
there. No,
no,
not at all.
Absolutely, absolutely. I believe, sir, also brought about internationalism in school.
Yes, he
How
did. We became a member of the headmasters conference. Then he became member, what is it called?
The Round Square.
Round Square.
Yes.
We were the first ones, and I remember it was 1993, or was it 95? 93 or 95, when we went to the first visit was to Australia
With the boys.
with the boys. And that was in the Gold Coast, in Brisbane. There was a school.
There was a school there. Okay.
So are we still members of the...
we are, ma'am.
And then they did a lot of work, social work also.
Yes.
In India, people came from outside, and our boys went and did that. This all came about while Charlie was there, becoming member of the
Round Square.
Surinder did, yeah.
Exactly.
He thought he has to take it to the international level,
Absolutely.
and so that's what happened.
Okay. And what was your role while all this was
My
happening?
role was typical headmaster's. I mean, parents used to come. Sometimes I had to keep him away from his aggressiveness or his brushness. They used to come and sort of unload themselves on me, Then I used to slowly tell them, okay, make a little way for you. You know how it is, how every wife takes the brunt and then slowly puts the parents in
the lady behind the
Yeah, lady behind.
successful man.
Not successful, well, he was successful.
Absolutely. Legendary.
And legendary. He did a lot for school. He was basically, I myself can say that he was one of the founders of the school.
Absolutely.
Senior school,
We are actually enjoying the fruits of his labor.
Every day he used to come up with something. Let's do this, let's do that. And he used to keep on inviting. Then the first time he's the one who started getting people for dyslexic children.
So learning
Because this was not there earlier. And you found a lot of children at the age when they come, they used to come at class 1. He took out, vanished class 1, then 2, now I think you started 4.
Yes, ma'am. We now taken boys at grade 4.
4. So slowly all these were taken away. And
so that was long time back, and
you know, children at 7, 8, you will find a lot of them are dyslexic.
They are.
They are very intelligent. And like B is D, or
Yes,
you know.
yes, ma'am.
So he got those. He got all these special ability to teach them like that. So that's what happened. All these camps used to come. People used to be invited from outside to give lectures on different subjects, you know.
What was that one thing that he would look at when he was taking in a master or a teacher?
He would look at it, whether the master had compassion, whether the master could do other things besides just teach a subject. You know, he had
Why
to
was
be
compassion so important? Because
I think compassion with children, he always felt, is the first thing that comes in.
very true, and especially so in a boarding school.
In a boarding school. As it is, the child has left his home. And in a way, unless you have that thing for the child is just rudderless.
The first thing to do is to connect with the child.
Absolutely. Teaching comes later, his marks come later. You will find that children who are very clever suddenly will not be doing well. Why? Because they haven't got that warmth, or they haven't had that.
Understanding.
Yes. So they don't do well. Half the time that is the trouble with because that love and affection is not there.
How much do you know about the generation these days? Are you connected with children of today? I'm generally talking of the children these days, school children, college
Totally
children.
different.
What's the difference?
Technology-wise, they're totally different.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you, I don't know a thing about technology. There my grandchild will come, who's about 8 or 7, will tell me everything. Or even younger for that matter.
Yes. They are a digital
Main
generation.
thing is all digital, yes. This is the difference I find.
They are natives.
They're
literally.
natives and they all are glued either to their phone or to their computers. I mean, in our time there was more interaction with others, which is getting less.
How was Sir when it came to interacting with children? How much time did he spend with children? How much time did you spend?
I didn't spend so much. They would come home and he would insist that I give them tea, coffee and you know the
Yes,
usual.
the usual.
But he spent a lot of time. I mean, he used to, especially his prefects and monitors, he used to have them over as a regular feature. Then then those who ran the Oliphant,
Yes.
he started the Oliphant.
Oh.
There was
And
no-
it's still going strong,
it's still
touch
going
wood.
strong.
Touch wood.
The Oliphant.
Yes. So he literally has brought up the school.
He brought up the Oliphant. He started.
So what would your message to the Vellum boys be?
My message
and
would
to
be,
me who's
and
joined
to
just
you who's joined, it's great meeting you. And my feeling is, Vellum Boys has already gone up, but let's it go further from strength to strength.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Great speaking with you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me now brief you about the programs that follow. We will now take you on a short tour of the art and photography exhibition. It will be followed by the music department presenting the ensemble. After the ensemble, you will be watching a tale of mischief and masumiyat, a junior school bilingual presentation. The celebrations will conclude with the Vellum News presentation. Being creative is not a hobby, it's a way of life. At Vellum, we live creativity, and the art school is an extension of that life. As we present the first ever online exhibition, We celebrate the work of past and present Vellamites. We chart their progress of artists as they grow from little boys into young gentlemen. In this unique and exceptional year, despite the lack of creative interactions in the personal space of our school, the artists have searched deep within to express themselves. It is the concerted efforts of the boys against many such odds which have made this exhibition a tangible reality and hopefully an experience that will mesmerize you.
Drawing is basically the same as it has been since prehistorical times. It brings together man and the world. It lives through magic. Keith Haring. I welcome all of you to the first ever virtual Vellum Boys art exhibition.
Best parts about being an art student from Vellum was the freedom of it, the freedom that came with the art department, because we were always allowed to pop in the art school if we have a free class or a free period. I was always encouraged by my art teachers, Mr. Puri and Mr. Poshan at that point of time. Freedom and that encouragement that we get from our art teachers was absolutely fantastic. That encouragement meant a lot, and that's, I think, what nourished the real artist in any of the students, I think, that I have witnessed. Any of the fantastic artists that have graduated from the Vellum Art School. I mean, they have graduated from that Vellum Art School.
Hi everybody, I'm Upam from the batch of 2014. It's been 6 years that I have graduated now from Vellum, and to think about it, Vellum has been a lovely experience. Still remember, my dad used to tell me that if we wanted you to become an artist, we would have probably given you a training here and not sent you to Vellum. But I beg to differ here. I feel that it's me having gone to Vellum which actually made all the difference, as it's the process that makes one an artist and not just the fact of pursuing a thing in itself. So Vellum means a lot to me. It was my process. It is what made me choose art as a career, and I'm very happy today. Thank you, Vellum.
Greetings to all. My name is Vedant from the batch of 2020. I've been given this opportunity to talk about Vellum. It's really hard to describe it in words because it's an emotion. But still, I clearly remember that when I first entered the Vellum Art School, looking at the paintings done by my seniors, it was ravishing. And from that point onwards, I was glued to the art school, and it's been quite a journey since then. I was in grade 9 when we all had to choose a subject between art, information technology and music, and I told my father that I really want to explore the art field, and that's where the never-ending journey starts. I really cherish the memories of art school as to how I used to run to the art school after lunch and sit there for hours getting help from my teacher to explore all the sides of the art field and learning it, which gradually changed to me helping my juniors. Vellum has given me all. In the end, I would like to say whatever I am and whatever I achieve in life, it's all because of Vellum. Thank you, Vellum.
Photography here at Vellum is an integral part of its family. From managing to send the photos to a senior, hoping that one of them would get selected, to creating your very own masterpiece. Through the years, we faced different challenges, but we've learned to deal with them from strength to strength. So here, I, Dhruv Singh Raghav, am proud to present to you Vellum Boys School's very own Photography Exhibition 2020.
Hi, my name is Shoaib Shawl and I'm from the batch of 2019. Well, it hasn't been long enough that I graduated from school. However, my hopefully long-lasting penchant for art and creativity makes me want to come back and relive all the moments that I've spent at Vellum Art School. For me, having the opportunity of creating visual arts, be it painting, filmmaking or photography, at a developmental stage of life, has not only been a regular experience where I would come and interact with the tools to create something, but it had been an experience of interaction with the self. In simpler words, that was the most personal time that I spent, and it made me introspect, because it was always like relaxing and thinking productively at the same time. And I believe that the atmosphere had a lot to do with that. The lush green trees surrounding the art room, the all-time accessible help from Mr. Sushant Porsche and the other teachers, thanks to that. The students all dressed in brown and talking about unimportant things that sounded important to them. And the blue skies that deceptively changed to grey, since monsoon is something really common at Dehradun. And all of it conditioned my mind to create art. And these things that are present in my subconscious is something through which I manifest my existence. Well, in conclusion, I would say that my experience at Vellum Art School has been lovely, and it gave me the freedom to think and the freedom to experiment both in the art department and outside of it.
The brushstroke dragged, the knife ebbed, the hiss grew louder, then fainter, then static. I evolved, thereby amplifying the sound of writing, reading, speaking, and painting through my art, as I became a part of the Vellum Art School. As the art captain, creation of this exhibition was more than the painting or sketching. It was a journey. I personally feel creating art is a necessity as much as breathing. Beauty that you would find here on an artwork would seem bland if you could see what got those artworks in front of your eyes. I sincerely thank Mr. Sushant Poshan, Mrs. Pooja Singh Raghav, and the art department for inspiring, criticizing, encouraging, and motivating us to this very day. I would also like to take this stand to thank Principal Ma'am Kane for her enthusiasm and support towards the art department and creation of this exhibition.
I hope you enjoyed that. Music heals, music binds, music uplifts above life's grind. Hold your breath as we have the ensemble coming up for you very shortly. The Ensemble 2020 brings together 72 musicians from grades 7 to 12 to recreate the most enchanting melodies in the most challenging times. The fusion of Indian and Western music flows effortlessly in a stream of notes, rippling over Mozart's Symphony 25, the iconic El Condor Pasa, the foot-tapping El Bimbo, the nostalgic Havana, the inimitable Sultans of Swing, and the much-awaited solo by our very own Mozart, Raghav Kazuria. He plays Hell's Dream by Bogdan Alinota with the perfection of a master musician. The Indian percussion and melodic instruments make Raga Yaman sway to the magic of 4x4 rhythm, making the East blend effortlessly with the West. The Tarana, set to a composition which complements Mozart's symphony, adds another dimension to the sweet flavor of the sound of music. The ensemble ends on a crescendo with all the musicians coming together to play the final notes.
Wherever I am always in Vellum. Vellum is a deep emotion, a profound feeling, the sense of a forever belonging, and the sweetest symphony. These founders, the musicians of Vellum, have come together, like the 7 notes of music, to create a harmonious melody, transcending the barriers of time, space, and distance. Sitting in the corners of a locked-down world, we caught melodies lifting upon the winds of time, rippling upon brooks, resting upon dewdrops on roses, tiptoeing upon moonbeams, till all the notes of music melted into the most beautiful consonants and rose like the sun upon a dark world to bring light, love, and miracles. The ensemble this year, ladies and gentlemen, is an echo of hope, a resonance of harmony set in a measure of unfaltering resilience.
నాదిందా నాదిందా టెటుకటి గదిగనది రదిందా నాదిందా నాదిందా టెటుకటి గదిగనది రదిందా నాదిందా నాదిందా టెటుకటి గదిగనది
Lockdown has put everyone in dire straits.
Dire straits? You mean sultans of swing, don't you?
I am sure all of you watching thoroughly enjoyed that musical rendition as I did. Even as the pandemic has turned the world upside down, we at Vellum are constantly trying to turn this crisis into opportunity. And one such opportunity has materialized into success, a tale of mischief and masumiyat. Don't we miss it in school? This junior school theatre production has been conceived, directed and produced remotely with parents and teachers contributing in equal measure. It is a testament to our love and devotion for the young in our care. A Tale of Mischief and Masumiyat is a potpourri of several popular heroes: Percy Jackson, Harry Potter, Shaktiman, Raja Vikram and Vital. And all these fantastic characters find themselves in a bind brought about by a global pandemic. Their only mission is to ensure that the Vellamite gets back to school and that life gets back to normal. Will they succeed in this mission, or will the pandemic overcome them all? Let us see in this production featuring participants from grade 4 to 8 take us.
This is a tale from the Himalayan foothills of a wondrous school and the dreams it fulfills. With bated breath and longing eyes, we wait for our students, our puddings and pies. They will return. They must come back to remove from the air a severe lag. The corridors are empty. No steps to be heard. The classrooms, they cry, the chairs, tables and boards. No inquiring minds, no laughter and day leaves us waiting from deep within. The playgrounds, they look for their strikes and shots. The Acti, it waits for its debates, dances and talks. The gates are open, even wider, our hearts, to have you back, the top of the charts. Let's get back together again. Come one, come all. Let's create new magic and make Vellum stand tall.
बेताल, आज हम तुम्हें नहीं छोड़ेंगे, उस तांत्रिक तक पहुंचा कर ही रहेंगे।
तुम बहुत ही जिद्दी हो। प्रतिदिन मुझे पकड़ ही लेते हो। आखिर क्यों मुझे उस तांत्रिक तक पहुंचाना चाहते हो? चलो, रास्ता काटने के लिए मैं तुम्हें एक कहानी सुनाता हूँ। लेकिन ध्यान रखना, अगर तुम बोले तो मैं चला जाऊंगा। एक समय की बात है, पूरी दुनिया में एक भयंकर महामारी फैली। लोग घरों में कैद होकर रह गए। ऐसे विपरीत समय में देहरादून नामक एक नगरी में आदित्य नामक एक मासूम परेशान होकर एक पेड़ पर चढ़ गया। उसी की डाली काटने लगा। बच्चा अपने विद्यालय जाना चाहता, अपने मित्रों के साथ खेलना चाहता था, खुली हवा में सांस लेना चाहता था, लेकिन परिस्थितियां विपरीत थी राजन।
Oof! It's so dull, this life. Nothing to do. Only classes and classes. No fun. Boo-hoo! I am bored to death. No friends, old and new. Yes, a tree I will climb and cut branches of you. I will return to nature and find some adventure. If you don't like it, the problem is yours. I will just do it. Bring some changes for sure.
What an unusual sight. I feel sorry for this boy's plight. Hey, stop! Free Don't you realize, you nut? You'll fall down and hurt your butt.
Pipe down, piper. I aim no rat. With me, you will score a duck with your pipe in your hat. Don't look at me with just disdain. For your information, I am not insane.
Now I'm going to play my magical flute, and then there will be no dispute. In a jiffy, I'll transport you to Vellum, a joyous school. Common sense, it will knock into you, you adorable fool. Where birds sing, lychee and mango trees grow, and the milk of human kindness doth flow. Here you learn things, old and new. Here kids bloom and state their point of view. Here, the playground celebrates with joy, vibrates the activity center with the talent of every single boy. A scientist, a historian, or a poet you may become. Well, my friend, will enlighten you to extend some.
वत्स, क्या समस्या है तुम्हारी? क्या सर्दी के लिए तुम्हें आम खोज रहे हो या वृक्ष को अपना गीत सुना रहे हो? जानी, वो बच्चों के खेलने की चीज नहीं है, वो कुल्हाड़ी है, कुल्हाड़ी। हाथ में लग गई तो हाथ कट भी सकता है। अरे रे, तुम डाल काट रहे हो और उसी पर बैठे भी हो। वाह भाई वाह। वत्स, हरे भरे वृक्ष लताओं को नहीं काटते, पशु पक्षियों जीव जंतुओं को परेशान नहीं करते, पर्यावरण की रक्षा करते हैं। अपनी पीड़ा को माता पिता और गुरुजनों के साथ बांटते हैं, पेड़ नहीं काटते। वत्स, पेड़ से नीचे उतर आओ, घर जाओ, घर में माँ ने गर्मा गर्म हलवा बनाया है, जाओ जाओ हलवा खाओ, पेड़ को मत सताओ।
Hey, what are you doing up there? Is it for some challenging dare? Hey, don't cut that branch. Beware. Come down. I'll tell you a phenomenal tale which will drive out your boredom without fail.
Yuck! Don't converse in such a stupid style. Your rhyme, verse and meter is really vile. Don't regale with such tall tales. I assure you, your efforts will fail.
Says the boy who is cutting his nose to spite his face. Ha ha ha. To Vellum from Hogwarts, my journey is thus. Oh, come down now, stop making a fuss. My tales you will die for. They will have you enthralled. Of friendship, love and betrayal, magic, potions and all. I'll teach you Quidditch. Here's a riddle for you. What do you call two roommates playing Quidditch? Work that out and tell me. Tell me soon. Try. If you did, soon or late, you could never imagine the answers, broommates. Ha ha ha.
Faster than fairies, faster than witches, charging along jumping hedges and ditches. Here come the students like troops in a battle, shrieking and cackling, making all the day battle. Climb down, lad, never late than never. Come to school now, do thyself a favor. Come to school now, do thyself a favor.
Be gone with yourself, right now and here. Oh God! And the third one comes from where? Oh girl, I see. Huh, she's dirty for sure. But I simply can't bear even one more.
Hey, you on the tree? What are you doing up there? Won't you come down now? There's a dream to share. Vellum is opening. Fun times are here. Climb
settling down quickly. Good times are near.
I am not convinced. They fool me in every way. To study online and just pass my day. This tree I have climbed. This branch I will cut. I miss the adventures with which vellum days are stuffed. How would you know how boring it is? So now I will pass my time like this.
Don't say that. You break my heart. I never give up easily. The scarecrow knows that. The tin man and the lion would say that too. Allow me a fair chance to speak with you.
Mind your own business. Heard that before? Leave me alone to deal with my woe.
The deal is done. Of you, I will have none. But had you me here, there could have been fun. Away I go, along my way, to reach Vellum safely and there to play.
मेरी freedom कहाँ गई? ये क्या है? Whether I climb a tree or run after the flea. What's your problem, जी? काश मेरे पंख लग जाएं और मैं स्कूल उड़ जाऊं.
बीरबल, इसकी इतनी हिमाकत कि जलालुद्दीन मोहम्मद अकबर नसीरुद्दीन हुमायूं का इस्तकबाल तक नहीं किया. कौन है नादान?
शहंशाह, मुझे लगता है ये कोई वेलामाइट है जो अपनी जिद पर अड़ा है, तभी तो इस पेड़ पर चढ़ा है.
नादान बालक, जानते हम कौन है?
नहीं, कौन है आप?
हुजूर, जिल्ले लाही, इस सल्तनत के शहंशाह बादशाह हिंद अकबर है.
तुम इस दरख्त से नीचे उतर आओ. हम चाहें तुमको पेड़ सहित तुम्हारे वेलम तक पहुंचा सकते हैं, लेकिन याद रखना रास्ते में यदि भीड़ से टकराओगे तो क्या होगा? कोरोना काल में संक्रमित से टकरा गए तो, राह चलते हुए गिर गए और हाथ धोने के लिए पानी ना मिला तो क्या होगा? सैनिटाइजर ना मिला तो? वक्त की नजाकत को समझते हुए लड़के सब्र से काम लो. जल्दबाजी करोगे तो नुकसान तुम्हारा ही होगा, साथ साथ हम सबका होगा.
16th सेंचुरी के राजा महाराजा भी अब मुझे समझाने लगे. ये हो क्या रिया है?
Hey master, look over there, up on the tree. I see a boy sitting and hitting at a flea. He seems to have lost it.
Oh gosh, let us find out who that could be.
My master wants to know what you're doing. Or if I may put it, what makes you do what you do?
I am seeing blue. And who are you? And how does it matter what I do to you?
I am Janie, and my master wants to know what you're doing.
Yes, please tell us, who are you? Would you like to fly with me on my carpet?
I'm a boy who's fed up of toys. Can't go out, can only shout. I eat, read and sleep. No play, no place to sway. So I found this tree, wound up everything and decided to flee. Life isn't the same anymore. No school, no sports, no friends to hang out with. So tell me what you say.
I can show you the Vellum world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, Adina, when did you last let your heart decide? I can open your eyes, take you wonder by wonder.
Nancy, what's up? Other than you in the process of making yourself fall.
I am just annoyed staying at home every day. I miss going out.
I know a thing or two about feeling boxed in. My mom married a smelly jerk just to hide my scent from monsters. My house smells like an old poker set and a bunch of downed bottles.
Yeah, so you understand why I'm angry? Now go away and stop bothering me.
I would. I need to get my best friend aluminium cans for his birthday. But remember, apple trees can be nasty. The dryads are not as sweet as the fruit. One of them punched me because I took an apple without asking.
I can't think. Why are you standing here playing my dad? Don't you have to get your friend some cans?
Buddy, let me give you a hand. See if you can stay up there any longer. You will come tumbling down and your jaw will ache for days. Trust me. Annabeth once hit me square in the jaw and I couldn't even chew cereal for days.
नीचे आ जाओ पेड़ पर क्यों चढ़ना है जिद पर क्यों अड़ा है क्या मुश्किल में पड़ा है ए पाला नीचे आ जा तू लड़का बड़ा कूल है क्या जुआ को शूल है क्यों कर रहा भूल है ए पाला नीचे आ जाओ ये आम का सीजन है फिर क्या रीजन है क्या कोई और रीजन है ए पाला नीचे आ जाओ क्या बात कोई खास है लगता क्यों उदास है या कोई
धमाल खूब मचाना है बैठनी में खाना है वेलकम में खिलखिलाना है
We are back to school, so excited, so delighted to be back. We are back to school, so excited, so delighted to be back. Ho ho ho, meeting friends, ha ha ha, and teachers too. Ho ho ho, meeting friends, we are back to school. We are back to school. We are back to school.
We hope we have been able to cater to your taste for entertainment in every possible way. Last, but certainly not the least, we have Vellum news coming up for you. For those who have lived in Vellum will know. In 2004, a group of enterprising students and one teacher started a small venture which we continue to call Vellum News. In this quarterly video newsletter, we cry, laugh, exult, groan, and sing together as every batch throws up talented individuals who then hone their filmmaking skills on this wonderful platform. Most importantly, today it serves as a mirror of time and a mirror of life at Vellum. This year, as we fight the pandemic with all our might and learn the online way of life, let us take you on a journey of what it has been like from March 17, 2020. That fateful day when we unwillingly left the pristine surroundings of our school, believing that we would be back in a week or two. Vellum News also captures some of us returning to the campus after 7.5 months. As we capture the online moments, we can't wait for everyone to be back on campus. This Founders Day video production is their most recent creation. We hope you enjoy it watching it as much as we enjoyed making it.
17th March 2020. The school sent us home for a 2-week break. Who would have thought that this short, unnatural break would become the new normal? Who would have thought that what was supposed to be a short leave from school would become a separation that lasted for months?
When I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me.
On hope, didn't need a telescope to see where I am going. I have never been the one trying hard to hold my tongue. It's my stereo, and one day I'll stand with a crown on my head like a god, yeah, like a god. With every step, no, I won't second guess what I want. I wanna be like Kanye. I'll be the king of me always. Do what I want, I'll have it my way. All day like Kanye, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I'll be the king of me. Born in broken home, okay. Single mama, let me chase what I was made for. We made up a paradise built on nickels, rubbing dimes. I'ma turn it to so much more. One day I'll stand with the crown on my head like a god, yeah, like a god. With every step, no, I won't second guess what I want. I wanna be like Kanye. I'll be the king of me always. Do what I want, I'll have it my way. All day like Kanye, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm a flame, short of fire. I'm the dark in need of light. When we touch, you inspire. Feel it changing me tonight. So take me up, take me higher. There's a world not far from here. We can die in desire. Burn in love tonight. Our hearts alive, firestorms, and when they strike, we feel the love. Sparks will fly, they ignite our bones. And when they strike, we light up the world. Standing in the cold and the frozen wind, I'm leaving you behind, but it's not the end. No, no, no. Walking on a plane as I hold my breath, it's gonna be weeks till I breathe again. No, no, no. I know that you hate it, and I hate it just as much as you. But if you can brave it, I can brave it all for you. Call me anytime, you can see the lightning. Don't you feel alone, you can always find me. We got a wild love raging, raging. Lost among a million changing faces. Every day our hearts keep trading places. We got a wild love raging, raging. Checking into hotel loneliness, it's not what I've been used to, I confess. I wake up 3 times a night. Talking to a stranger is nothing new. She knows how to smile but not like you, so I wait for you all night. I know that you hate it, and I hate it just as much as you. But if you can brave it, I can brave it all for you. Call me anytime, you can see the lightning. Don't you feel alone, you can always find me. We got a wild love raging, raging. Lost among a million changing faces. Every day our hearts keep trading places. We got a wild love raging, raging.
And the blood will dry underneath my nails, and the wind will rise up to fill my sails. So you can doubt and you can hate, but I know no matter what it takes, I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home.
I don't know if I will have the time to reminisce anymore, because I might be too busy trying to participate online. So if this does end up being the last time, I just want you to know that I was in a bad place before I met you, Vellum. And you helped me. Even if you didn't know what I was talking about or know someone who's already gone through it, it made me not feel alone. Because I know there are people who say all these things don't happen, that there's no magic moments or that extra sensory feeling after you sing the school song. And there are people who forget what it's like to be 30s when they become 20s. I know these will all be stories someday, and our pictures will become old photographs, and we'll all become someone's dad. But right now, these moments are not stories. This is happening. I'm here, and I want to look at you because you're so beautiful. I can see it. This one moment when you know you're just another great brown story. You are alive. And as you stand up and see the lights on Bethany and everything that makes you wonder, and you are listening to that song on Marine Drive with the people you love most in this world, in these moments, I swear to you, Vellum, we are infinite.
I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they've forgiven my mistakes. I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm
that brings us to the end of the Founders Day celebrations. Thank you once again for being a part of this memorable event. Have a great day ahead.